So what are shotgun slugs? I think most shooters in the UK kind of know, but may have not actually seen them in the flesh, as it were. In the UK, most people shoot bird shots at clay pigeons or birds on the wing, etc. Maybe even the odd rabbit. Shooting quarry, not many people have the opportunity to use slugs, but this is what it looks like. You can see it's see-through, so it gives you a bit of an idea. You've got the sort of the nitro, you've got a plastic wad like you'd expect, and then stuck on top of it, you've got a big old lump of lead. Instead of like lots of little pellets, you've got one single, in this case 32 gram slug. They're normally 28, which is an ounce, so this is a particularly heavy slug, to be honest. And it's strange because these are actually marketed for practical shooting because they're a lot shorter, which means you can get hopefully an extra shot in the gun. I'll be trying that out later just to see if that is the case. But I don't understand quite why they felt the need for them to be 32 gram, because for practical shooting, power isn't really an issue. You know, the lighter the load, the better. So yeah, I mean, maybe they could have made this even shorter if they'd used a lighter lump of lead. But I'll tell you one thing, this would take down some quite large animals if you needed it to. Which really brings me on to the next point, is that hunting in the UK with a slug is a bit of a problem, really, because this is a Section 1 shotgun. The slugs are conditioned to be shot in this gun. Because it's a shotgun, not a rifle, even though it's Section 1, I don't have to have specific nominated land to shoot it on. I can shoot it pretty much anywhere I've got permission. Which would then make you think, well, can I shoot slugs through it on my permission? Because, I mean, deer, for instance, well, I mean, this definitely meets the requirements. It's certainly a large enough calibre and it's got enough foot-pounds of energy to be considered to be lawful. But you can't. And the reason you can't is even with an open ticket, or obviously in this case it's open anyway, the land you're going to be shooting on still won't have been allowed for that large, a calibre that large. The police generally will say, I don't know, a 243 or a 30 cal, something like that, for say some farm land that you might shoot on. So they wouldn't ever even consider slugs as being something that you would want to do. So therefore, even if you've got an open ticket, you can't really lawfully use them in the field, which is very frustrating for me, because there's a lot of tests I'd have liked to have done which I can't do because I'm restricted to the range, and obviously at the range I can't make loads of mess with like shooting bits of meat and that sort of thing, and you know, I need permission to do that sort of stuff. So you know, I'm going to stick with the accuracy testing for this video anyway, but we should get some interesting results. If you look closely, I've got a cross section here of a BB shell on the left. Now for our American friends, BB I think is approximately like number 4 buckshot. It's about that, something like that. But you can see obviously, and especially if there's any people who don't really know anything about shotguns, you can see on the left that's like a regular shell with lots of pellets that come out in a pattern. And this being a slug, it's just a solid, as I said, a solid lump of lead. It has its uses. It's going to be quite interesting to sort of see, you know, what the accuracy's like on camera. And the only problem with them really is they're very, very expensive in the UK. As in, that box of shells there cost about something like £20, which is pretty excessive, really, to be honest. But yeah, let's have a closer look at the slug itself. This should come out fairly easily. You can see the plastic wad there, and there's the nitro, and that just sort of comes out like that. And you can see, as you might not expect, it's a bit like an airgun pellet, or sort of like a shuttlecock. Instead of a normal foot, it's actually got a sort of hole in the back of it, which I guess is to stabilise it as it goes through the air. And you can also see it's got these sort of rivets on the side. Now this is rifling. And the reason that the actual projectile itself has rifling is because it's shot in a shotgun, which is smooth bore. I suppose you can get rifled shotguns. I'm not sure if you can in the UK very easily, but they are available, and there are other slugs you can get, which is just a smooth lump of lead, like a bullet out of a normal rifle. But as most people would be using a smoothbore gun, they actually put the rifling on the projectile to make sure it spins, because you want it to spin when it comes out, just like a bullet, so it's reasonably accurate. Now this, as I said, this is 32 grams, so this is a big, heavy lump of lead. I mean, you'd be hard-pushed to find many rifles that would have a projectile anything like as big and heavy as this. And this flies through the air. I mean, it's something getting on for something like 2,000 feet per second, so it's got a lot of horsepower behind it, to be honest. So you certainly wouldn't want to be a pig and getting that in your rib cage. But as I said, we'll see how it fares. Accuracy-wise, they're quite difficult to shoot. Ideally, you would have some sort of scope on your gun. People who take it really seriously, competition shooting slugs, will often have their receiver tapped, which means sort of holes drilled in it, basically, so you can mount. Well, you can put sort of I'll just leave it like that. You can put a scope on it of some sort and scope mount. And most people would have a cylinder bore because they don't want any constriction on the end of the barrel, so it comes out and it spins freely. However, there is a bit of a myth that a lot of people kind of go on about, and it's usually people who say this are people usually who've never actually shot slugs before, but people often believe that if you shoot a slug through a choked barrel, it'll blow up or something ridiculous like that. I can categorically tell you that that is absolute rubbish. This shotgun here, this is my Winchester SXP. I'm currently running an improved modified choke in it, so that's 3/4 choke, and I've shot these slugs through it plenty of times. I've shot slugs through plenty of guns that are choked. In fact, I don't think I've ever shot slugs through a gun that wasn't choked. So it doesn't present any problems, or other than perhaps your accuracy not being as good. But if I'm honest, slugs are pretty accurate. The real problem shooting them is you being how good a shot you can be. A shotgun's a very big, cumbersome thing to shoot. You often get sort of heat rising off the barrel because these produce a lot of energy, and that heat, those heat waves can kind of get in your sight picture a bit and kind of affect you. And of course, you know, it's quite unnatural shooting a shotgun like a rifle, because with a shotgun normally it's more instinctive. You're normally moving when you fire, and you don't really think about pulling the trigger, because you're really kind of just yanking it really as you're moving. As well with a rifle, of course, you're squeezing it, you've got breathing, you've got all the normal rifle shooting disciplines that you need to be good at to shoot anything. And of course, this shotgun's got something like a 10-pound trigger weight, something like that, which is huge. I mean, my Browning T-bolt right rimfire, I mean, that's got a heavy trigger in my opinion, and that's 4 pounds. So 10 is excessive. But we'll see how we get on. As I said, I'm going to go down the club now. I'm going to set up some targets, maybe do some bench rest shots, and I'll do some standing shots. And also, I'll see how many of these I can actually get in the gun, because as I said, these are marketed for practical shooting, and they're actually a lot shorter than regular shotgun shells. These are 63.5mm, so normally you would have 65, 67, 70, that sort of thing. So we may be able to get another one of these in the gun, so we'll see if that's possible as well. So anyway, let's get down the range. I hope you enjoyed the footage. So let's try 3 shots bench rested and see how we get on. Let's go and have a look. So yeah, that's not too bad, because I haven't really had any practice yet this afternoon. So that's pretty good. The second shot was pretty much bang on target. It is tricky when you're bench resting, getting it to hold down really, like you would with a rifle, because obviously a shotgun's a bit cumbersome. But yeah, that's not bad. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the camera actually on the target this time, and I'll try 3 shots standing, and you'll be able to see them as they come in. So before we do the second group, just out of interest, I want to see if, because these shells are a bit shorter, they're 63.5mm rather than 65mm or 67mm or 70mm. I want to see if it's possible to get an extra shot in this gun. This normally holds 11, well, 10 plus 1. So let's see. So there's 1. Just so you can see what I'm doing. 2, 3. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11. Let's see if we can get an extra one in. 12, we can. Yeah, 12. So, it does look like you can get an extra one in. So yeah, accuracy-wise, considering I'm just using a bead, that was pretty good, bench-rested. As you can see, the first shot, I think it was the first shot anyway, pretty much a bullseye, and the other two, I was getting caught by the recoil, I think, to the left and the right. But that wasn't too bad. Stood up though, it's weird. I think that's the first shot, which was pretty much a bullseye. These other two, not so good. So I don't know if that was to do with, well, I'm not sure, if I'm honest. I did see heat waves coming off the barrel, which was like getting in the way of my sight picture a little bit, which was interesting. So I think you could definitely improve matters with a scope of some sort, or at least a sort of T-sight further up the barrel so you can line it up a bit better. But either way, it's pretty good. As I said, I mean, that shows here, look, as long as you're kind of taking your time a bit, even stood up, you can get some pretty good accuracy with slugs. Even with just a regular old pump, which you haven't, like, as I said, tricked out for slug shooting. And definitely, if you were shooting a boar or, you know, something driven, it would do the job. As I've said before, obviously, legalities in this country, it's quite difficult to actually get in the field with slugs, which is why I'm here at the range. But I'm hoping this video has given you a bit of an idea about, you know, what they can do and what they're all about. So either way, I hope you enjoyed that. Like and subscribe.